David Piatek, President and CEO of Welke Custom Brokers USA, here today to talk about USMCA. So what we understand now is that USMCA came into fruition earlier this year, and it's going to come into enforcement in January. So the question is, are you ready? And we're here to give you the top 3 tips to being prepared starting January 1. We still have a little bit of time, about a month left. So if you're not prepared, here's the number 1 things to do. Make sure that you have a valid USMCA certificate. You cannot use your NAFTA certificate, but if you need one, we have one available for you that we've taken all the data points that are required for U.S. Customs to claim USMCA and put your products on there and verify it. Now, the second thing is not only having the form, but to do your due diligence and verify that all of your products actually meet the new criteria for USMCA. So what you want to understand is each individual tariff number has a different way of qualifying for USMCA. There's 3 ways to do that. Number 1 is it's wholly made or grown or obtained in a NAFTA or a USMCA country. So that's Canada, Mexico, and the United States, just like the old NAFTA. The second way to qualify is through regional value content. So that's going to be prescribed by a different mathematical formula. So you either have the net cost method or there's another method that you have. Those 2 formulas you're going to want to use to make sure that your product qualifies for USMCA if your tariff number has to meet the regional value content requirement. And the third way to qualify is a combination of both regional value content through the formula and a tariff shift. So those are the 3 ways. I'm sorry. So wholly obtained or grown, regional value content, and the last way is a tariff shift, and then it could be a combination of both. So those are the ones that we're looking at to qualify for USMCA. And make sure that you do your due diligence. So if you need a parts list and you need to know what the regional value content is, you have to understand what the value of each part that goes into your product is. You have to make sure you understand what the tariff number is when it's imported and what the tariff number is when it's exported, if there's substantial manipulation on it or not. And you have to be careful on those tariff shifts to make sure that something isn't excluded, because there's a lot of exclusions. It'll say a tariff shift except from chapter XYZ. Those are the things that we're going to look at to verify, and it has to be documented. So similar to NAFTA, if Customs is going to do a verification, they're going to give you 30 days to respond, and they're going to give you a list of entries, and they're going to say you claimed USMCA on these 5 entries. Send us your certificate, and then also send us your backup that shows that you've done your due diligence to qualify these products for USMCA. Lastly, the last thing you need to do is get your C-level executives involved in the compliance. Because if you don't get the top level involved, it's not going to be done throughout the company. And you really need everybody on board and forward facing on this to make sure that it gets done properly. So what's going to happen come January 1? Listen, we've gone through the COVID pandemic here, and our country has given out a stimulus package in the trillions of dollars, and our government needs money. So they're going to start enforcing it. Traditionally, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has been a source of a lot of revenue for the U.S. government right from the beginning. So here's a little bit of a history lesson. So up until 1913, when the first income tax was collected by the Internal Revenue Service, the sole source of income and revenue for our country was tariffs on imported items. So these tariffs are going to stay, and also fines and penalties are going to stay. So they're looking for money. And on that note about tariffs, the country's looking for money, so they're going to use every possible way to get that money back in their coffers. Fines and penalties through U.S. Customs are going to go up, and tariffs are going to stay. I know a lot of people are looking at this election and saying, okay, Biden was elected, and now these 301 and 232 duties are going to go away. My personal opinion, being involved in trade for the last 20, 25 odd years, they're going to stay. They're a source of revenue for the country. Tariffs have always been a source of revenue for our country, and we need it now more than ever. So quick update on USMCA. If you have any questions with USMCA, one quick question here just came in. With USMCA transitioning from NAFTA, when do you think U.S. Customs will start to enforce penalties? And that's January 1. That's really what we're talking about today, is January 1 is when they're going to really start enforcement of this. So be on the lookout. They're going to send 28s, CF 28s, which is request for information, and then they're going to get those back. And a lot of people aren't going to be prepared. Now, remember, you have 30 days to respond to that 28, the request for information. You can ask for a 30-day extension if you're not prepared to gather the information, but after that, you got to respond. And the penalties are going to be handed out. We got another question here. How do I know I'm doing the regional value content correctly? So in the agreement itself, it gives you two formulas, two mathematical formulas to calculate the regional value content. It's net cost, and then the other one is escaping me right now, but there's two different ways to qualify. You have to choose one and use that to qualify your products. So those are the two ways. There's two. It's just the same. It's the same mathematical formulas that were used to qualify NAFTA for regional value content. They carried it right over to USMCA. But those are the two. Those are the two ways to make sure that you're doing regional value content. Now, there is exclusions. Now, here's something that a lot of people don't talk about. There is exclusions to regional value content. So if you're making a product in those countries, Mexico, Canada, and the United States, and you're adding water to it, and it's merely diluting the solution, the water value, the value of the water does not count for regional value content. So there's exclusions to that, and it's spelled out in the agreement. You really got to look closely. Quick overview. If you have questions specific to your product, please feel free to email me, Damon, D-A-M-O-N, at Welke, W-E-L-K-E, USA.com. Again, that's Damon at WelkeUSA.com. Thank you very much for your time. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, or you can call our office, 716-995-2900. Well, have a wonderful day, and happy holidays from all of us here at Welke Custom Brokers.